Howdy. How are you? Come in, come in. How is everyone this evening? Hello, my name is Eve, and I am the baby's Ruby, and I want to welcome each and every one of you here with us tonight. We have some embroidery questions free. If you need to ask any questions, please feel free to do so in regards to embroidery or bling or sublimation, although my knowledge on that is a little limited, and vinyl. So we can answer all of those questions tonight. Also, we have an announcement as far as the Deco Summit is concerned. We can officially announce that. So I'm super excited to have you all here. Let me go ahead and go down the line and say howdy do to everyone that is here. First in was Little Miss Boutique. How are you this evening? Stacy, Kingsbury Crafts, Teresa Jackson. Hello. Arva. Hello. Welcome. Haven't seen your name. Barbara Nance. Always a pleasure to have you in here. Miss Carol Coleman. Eddie Jr. Hey, Eddie Jr. How are you? Teresa Jackson says, I ran across your videos. Love the information you give. Very helpful. Well, thank you very much. We try diligently to make sure that we cover all the bases of the questions that folks may have. I know a lot of the things come from questions that I myself had it at one point in time. So definitely want to make sure that sorry, I just realized my microphone is not attached to me, y'all. My bad. Hold on, because I don't know how well you can hear me. Let me see. It's on the floor. It was all the way down on the floor. Y'all, can you hear me now? Good. That's what the Verizon person says. All right, now, welcome. Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. So we definitely want the channel to be useful. I apologize for that. So Little Miss Boutique says hello to Carol. I'm sorry, I'm gonna read everything. I'm trying to make sure we catch everyone. Marilyn Ray says hello to myself and everyone. Hello back to you. Cheryl Ann Peters, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Trinidad visiting family, I'm jealous. Yeah, you know what? I took a nap today to make sure that I would not be in here yawning on y'all again like I did last week. That was like tragic. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I actually am yawning in front of these books. So at any rate, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and tell the family in Trinidad that we said hello. Thank you for joining us. Miss Nancy Faust from Iowa. Hello. You gotta. Hello. How are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So Crafty says, hi, even Hoopsters. Gloria Colvin says, hello. Hashtag Hoop Group. I know that's right. Hashtag Hoop Group to everyone. I meant to wear my Hoop Group shirt tonight and forgot. Oh my gosh. But in my defense, I've been working all day, so I did not get a chance to switch my top. American Eagle is the lovely Miss Debbie. Hello. How are you? Welcome as always. Janet Barber from Augusta, Georgia. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Miss Eartha Lewis and Steele. Everybody. Oh, Karen Hermans. Hello. How are you? From Gold Coast, Australia. Wow. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from so far away. And Steele says she's from California, sunny California. Welcome. Is the sound much better? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, that's what she was saying. I'm like, what in the world? Shamina, hello. Valerie Thompson says she's from Michigan. Welcome. Thank you for joining us from Michigan. Teresa says she's in Kentucky. Welcome. Tater Chip, we are hooping. Yes, we are hooping, Tater Chip, and welcome. Your second live? Yes, please don't be up too terribly late. We don't want any issues for whatever you have to do tomorrow. Jennifer Allison, hello. Welcome. PJ Coppage is in the house. Hello. Teresa Jackson says, what to do about thread breakage and needle breakage bunching up on the back? OMG, is that not a pain in the bahookie, right? So usually when there's thread bunching, there's a lot of different things, unfortunately, that can be causing that. And what I actually need to do, and I've been talking about doing this for quite some time, but have I done it yet? No. Been so busy. But we need to get a first responders list, for lack of a better description, so that whenever there's an emergency in regards to your embroidery, what are your initial steps? What do you need to do? The first thing
I always suggest is check what's already there. All right, so the first thing you want to check is your thread. Look up at the top. Look at how, no matter what machine you're using, this will work. Okay, so you want to check your thread path from the top thread. Make sure nothing is catching that thread. Like once I had some issues with thread breakage, and what happened was the spool, say for instance this is the spool, it was wrapped around, the thread was wrapped around the spool pin up under the spool, and I didn't know it because I didn't see it. It was going up like it was normally supposed to, but it was going up from up under the spool, so it got wedged up under here. You want to make sure that your thread always has a nice clean clear path, and one of the ways to do that is when you're working down by the needle trying to sort that out, pull a little bit on that thread from the needle area, not through the needle, but right up above it where that last bar is, and see if it gives. Hold on, let's do it this way because I hate trying to describe stuff like that when it's easier to show you. Okay, now I'm holding this so it may not do right, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so here is the multi-needle machine, and of course you see up here is where all my threads are coming down to the needles, and right up under here, this is of course your needle, but there's a bar right here. I don't know how well you can see that. These bars right here in front of these needles, they are there to hold the thread in place. You see how the thread is coming down at an angle, going behind that bar and then straight down to the needle. You always want your thread to have a straight, clear path to the hole in the needle. You don't ever want it to come directly from up here and then diagonal to the needle. So that's what that bar is for. Sometimes people miss that bar and they don't thread behind that, but that's, you know, that's a problem. It's not going to stitch correctly. But even still, even if it's behind here, the way to check and make sure that your thread path all the way up and up through the machine, all the way up back to your thread back here, is to take it out of the needle like this. And this can be done even with a single needle. Pull it out of the eye and then pull on the thread. All right, now you should have some resistance, but you should not have a ton of resistance. And I'm pulling on it. You should be able to pull that thread. All right, so if you go to pull that and you're having a tug super hard for whatever reason, or you can't pull it at all, then something is bound up at the top, and you want to definitely check your thread and make sure that there's nothing grabbing hold of that thread. And if it is, okay, well then you found your problem. Go ahead and fix that. But if you've done that and that works perfectly, there are no issues there, then your next step is to check your bobbin. Okay, take your bobbin out, take a look at it, make sure that your bobbin is threaded like it's supposed to be. Pull on it, make sure that the thread comes out of the bobbin like it's supposed to. A smooth, clear path. Look at your bobbin, check and see how clean and clear it is. Now in the flatbed machines, you don't have this metal bobbin. It's laid down in the machine, so you just want to do the same thing. Pull on it. All right, if it's coming off smooth and clear, then rethread through the thread guide path where it automatically cuts the thread. Put it back, make sure that that's back where it's supposed to be. After you've checked that and that looks good, check down before you actually put your bobbin back in. Check and make sure there's nothing down in there that could be causing the bobbin thread to not wrap around the bobbin like it's supposed to and come back up clear and clean. So check in there, make sure that's cool. If the bobbin looks great, if the top looks great, check your needle. That's your next step. All right, so your needle is more difficult to determine if the needle is the actual problem. The really only solution to finding out if the needle is the problem for the most part is replacing it. All right, so if you haven't replaced that needle in quite some time, like you cannot remember, when was the last time I replaced my needle? Replace your needle. Okay, so needles, they come in packs of 25, 50, 100. It's better to buy them in your bigger packs so that you'll always have them, or buy a few packs of the 5-pack needles. Have them on hand. Like I have a drawer full of needles right here, so that when it's time to use one, I just pull it out, go ahead and replace it, and then throw the old one away. Replace the needle and try again. All right, so once you replace your needle, your top is clean and clear, your bottom is clear, you were having okay time, it was stitching good up until a certain point, then that's when you want to start looking at your project. At what point in that embroidery design are you at? Okay, so if it was stitching, say, an outline or something, like for instance with this particular design here, here are two logos on a chef's jacket. Okay, so say for instance it started right here and it was stitching good, and then it came around here and it was stitching good, but by the time it got down to this little bitty lettering, that's where it wanted to act up. Well, sometimes the little bitty lettering can cause it to act a little bit crazy, especially if it's not stabilized good and taut, or somewhere where it's a little denser. This really isn't the best example because both of these designs are pretty lightweight. They're not super dense at all. But if you have a dense design, sometimes you're in a place in a design where there's a lot of stitches in one area. That can cause a problem, especially if your stabilizer isn't stabilized tight enough, or your fabric isn't tight enough. So there's a lot of different things that could be causing the problem. And unfortunately, without troubleshooting and doing the process of elimination, making sure, okay, that's good, so that's not the problem, that's good, so that's not the problem, that's good, so that's not the problem, that's the only real way to determine where the problem is. And also paying attention to what you're doing. Okay, paying attention meaning, as I asked before, what point in the embroidery design are you at? So if you hadn't had problems before, it was stitching perfectly before, but now you're halfway through the design and now it's wanting to act up. So that's where you're like, okay, well, I didn't have this problem stitching this design yesterday when I was doing it, so why is it acting up today? Or, you know what, I had this exact same problem yesterday and it was acting crazy, and I just took that one off and threw it away, but now I'm back in the same spot and it's doing it again. So that's how I troubleshoot. That's how, because there's no one solution to everything. In most instances, it's always something different. All right, not usually the exact same thing. And sometimes people want to be quick to blame the machine when you kind of like need to pay attention to everything that's going on. So with thread breakage, you definitely want to be sure to check your needle, check your thread, and check your bobbin. Also, sometimes if your thread's old, it'll break too. So there's a lot of different, and I'm sorry I didn't really have like a 100% answer for that. But that's one of the things that you definitely want to keep in mind. And needle breakage is tricky, especially, now I don't know what machine you have, Miss Teresa, but if it's like the 4x4 machine, and you break a needle, sometimes that needle, when the needle is coming down and say for instance the thread up top got bound, it'll bend the needle a little bit. So when that needle comes down and it breaks because it's hitting something down below it's not supposed to be hitting. So if it hits that bobbin case on the bottom and that's what breaks the needle, sometimes that needle goes through that bobbin case. It's plastic in there. So it'll go through that bobbin case and it'll put a hole in the bobbin case. So anytime you're doing embroidery after that, now all of a sudden you're starting to have issues with your embroidery. And it was embroidering just fine. You replaced the needle is great, but now I can't seem to embroider much of anything because the needle broke. And now that I replaced the needle, it's a problem. You could have a burr on the underside of that bobbin case where the needle went straight through. Don't ask me how I know, because I'm gonna tell you, I about had a fit because my single needle, my 4x4, did that, and I just couldn't for the life of me figure out what was wrong. I tried everything. I was to the point of tears. So I fortunately had two machines at the time, so I just switched to the other one. But when the repair guy came to service my machines, he was like, oh, you have a burr on the underside where the needle, see, look. And he turned it over, and sure enough, there was a hole in my bobbin case. I didn't even know it. I wouldn't have known to look there. I wouldn't have known. So he sanded the bottom side of that, sanded it back smooth. My machine ran just as good as it did before the hole was punched in it. So you also could possibly, if you look and you see that there's a burr, like you can actually pull out your bobbin case from the flatbed machine, and if you see there's a hole, you can order another one. They're on Amazon, I believe, and eBay. I know they're on eBay, and they're also on sewingmachinesparts.com or something to that effect. You can always purchase another bobbin case. So, and I think there's something like $25 for another bobbin case. Not 100% sure on that price, but because it's been a while since I looked it up. But he told me to keep extras of those on hand because that's how common that happens, especially when you're trying to embroider something tough or something thick or something that is just stitch heavy, like really, really dense on those 4x4 machines. That can cause that needle to shift in ways it's not supposed to, break your needle or punch it through that bobbin case, and there you got a whole nother live dad blame problem, enough to make you cry. So if you hopefully answered as much as I possibly could, and we need to see about coming up with a hoop group guide on a process of elimination and trying to figure out what's wrong when you come up against a problem. Miss Tater Chip says she's from Wyoming. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Miss Deborah Lewis says hello, even everyone. Ronnie's Raps is here. Miss Social Debs, hello. Dr. Threads is in the house. Hello, my love. How are you? Gloria Coleman says, when stitching in the hoop design, my stabilizer tears. Any ideas? A lot of that is based on the density of the design, because in the hoop, a lot of the in the hoop projects suggest using tearaway stabilizer, and that's a good thing. The tearaway stabilizer works really well, so definitely want to stick with that because you want to make it easy to tear that away from the back of the design. However, get a pretty good decent weight tearaway. All right, so I know Designs by Little B, she has an excellent tearaway stabilizer. I absolutely love her tearaway stabilizer. So if you go to designsbylittleb.com, and the link I know is in my description, it stays there. You can purchase her tearaway stabilizer, and it's an excellent quality. It doesn't tear as easily when you are stitching. Clever Dog Designs, thank you so very much for your super chat, and I appreciate you as well. And I'm glad that you're here. Actually, real quick, I'm gonna defer away from the chat, and I want to point out something pretty awesome. Clever Dog Designs is one of the instructors that are going to be on the cruise next year. Now, I haven't been talking about the cruise very much because I've been dealing with the other thing that I'm going to be announcing and talking about tonight, but it's been a lot going on in the Baby's Booty Studios in addition to work and family life. All right, but Clever Dog Designs will be one of the instructors on the cruise. She is going to be teaching us sew art. She has a sew art class that is going to take place on the cruise May 18th through the something. I'm supposed to know that right off the top of my head, but unfortunately I don't. So let me scroll through the calendar real quick and let you know it's coming up. It will be May 18th, which is a Monday, through May 22nd, which is a Friday, to the Bahamas on the Carnival Cruise Line. It is a 4-night cruise. The prices are awesome. There are still some cabins set aside for us, so if you would like to join us on the cruise, you definitely can do so. Let me make sure I can pop this up right there at customcraftcruise.com. You can go there and look at some of the information that's available at the moment for the cruise. All right, so there's going to be a sew art class, a Sew It Pro class. There's going to be, hi Will, there's going to be a screen print class, soap making class. There's going to be a vinyl class that includes using the cutting machines, the Brother Scan and Cut and the Silhouette, and possibly the Cricut. If we can, there's supposed to have been a dedicated Cricut class, but if Cricut still doesn't have it where we can use a Cricut without the internet, then we can't do the Cricut. So it'll be the Silhouette and definitely the Brother Scan and Cut. We will have oh my gosh, quilting class. We also will be having I said Sew It Pro, oh, not Silhouette, what's the name of that program? I can't, Embrilliance, I think it's Embrilliance. I'll have to look it up. It's another class, that's another program that's going to be Designs by Little B. So we have quite a few classes. It's going to be just about every day there's going to be a class, with the exception of Friday. But Monday through Thursday, definitely, even Monday night, as soon as you get on the ship, Monday night there's going to be a class after dinner. So we're action packed on this cruise. If you would like to go, please check that link that you see right here on the screen. We have goodie bags for everyone. We have a couple of sponsors so far that's contributing to the goodie bags and to the classes. I'm super excited. The classes, each class has a 30-minute window that the class is free. So that's just a basic quick lecture about what the class is about, what it's going to be teaching, and all of that jazz. But after that is the paid portion of the class, completely hands-on. You'll be able to make things like the screen print. You'll be screen printing bags or a shirt. I can't remember which one. So everything in that is hands-on, and you get to take your projects home with you. So super excited about that. And for the ones that are like Clever Dogs with the Sew Art, she's going to be teaching Sew Art. So hopefully bring your laptops, and you'll have a handout to take home with you with like some quick tips and tricks, little things to remind you once you get home so you don't forget everything that you learned. So that's the gist of the cruise. I'm super excited about that. So if you want to check that out, if I'm not mistaken, Carnival is still offering the promotion that is $50 per person, but there's 2 people to a cabin. So you both have to register for your cabin at the same time for $50 a person, so $100 right there on the spot holds your cabin. It's non-refundable if you do it that way. Or you can do 2 people to a cabin, $100 a person, and that is fully refundable until January. So if something comes up and you can't go, then you can back out and get your deposit back up until January. So these are some things to look forward to on the Custom Craft Cruise. I'm super excited. It's our first cruise, and hopefully there will be another after. It depends on how well this one goes. This one goes, and I'm excited. There's also supposed to be a retreat just before the cruise, so that's going to be exciting too, but we'll have more information about that the closer we get to the cruise. Eric Boyle, thank you. You're quite welcome. He says thanks for answering our questions and working so hard. Well, I do work very hard. I'm not going to lie about that, but thank you very much. I appreciate that, and the super chat especially, for sure. All right, so let me see where I was. I want to be sure that we answered the questions. So that was in the hoop. Angelia Baker says, hi, Eve, in the hoop group. Shamina says, after getting the thread unbunched, will the machine continue where you left off? In most instances, Shamina, it does continue where you left off. Well, in speaking in regards to the brother, my experience with all of my brother machines, yes, it continues where it left off. The thing is, though, you want to back it up a few stitches to make sure, because usually once it starts bunching, then that means it's been doing some stitches that weren't laying like they were supposed to. So when you cut those out from the bottom, and then you clean your bobbin area out, get rid of all those threads, clean those extra threads off of the top and the bottom and all of that jazz, get it all cleaned up and pretty, you want to go back over those stitches that didn't stitch properly and start over again in that. So you definitely want to back up some stitches, probably about like 20 stitches or so, or where you see that the stitching was wonky or whatever, you want to back up to that and then stitch over the top of it, because you can stitch back over your embroidery again without too many issues. All right, so you can give that a shot. Dorothy Gaston says, hello, hoop group from the STL. Hello to you. How are you this evening? Thank you for joining us. Nellie Smith says, hi, Eve and everyone else. It's been a while since I have joined the group, so welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Getting ready to leave for Paris and Rome, a gift from our children, and feel blessed. Ma'am, you have an excellent time. Please have a safe trip for us and enjoy the beauty that is Paris and Rome. So you have a very good and safe time. Come back to us and let us know how it went. I look forward to it. Teresa Spencer says, hey y'all. Hey Teresa, how are you? Little Miss Boutique says, I am having tension issues ever since I changed to the magnetic bobbin. Also, I changed my needles to the 90 size and the thread kept coming out of the eye. So the first thing I would do is not do the magnetic bobbin, because if you notice something different that's not positive when you try something new with the machine, don't keep doing it. just because someone else has success using it doesn't mean that your machine is okay with it. And that's part of the reason why, for me, naming your machine has a ring of truth to it, because each machine has a personality. You know, each machine is different. Not every, I mean, you can have, I have 3 4x4 embroidery machines, well now 2 4x4 embroidery machines, and neither one stitches exactly the same with the exact same thread and all that jazz. Each one has a different personality. It's crazy to see it if you pay attention close enough. So if a magnetic bobbin doesn't work for you, don't keep using it. And they're not difficult to sell to your fellow crafters. I'm sure somebody else will be like, oh, well, I use them and they're just fine. Sell it to them and go back to your regular bobbins. But the 9014 needle, if the thread is coming out, did you try the 9014 prior to switching to the magnetic bobbins? If you did and then the thread was coming out with your regular bobbins, then don't use them. Go back smaller. If you use that needle after switching to the magnetic bobbin and the thread was coming out, see what difference it makes without the magnetic bobbin. See if it still works like that. If it still causes you a problem, then, you know, we'll try something different. Thank you, Miss Carol Coleman. I definitely appreciate the super chat as always. You are often a wonderful and totally awesome sponsor to our channel, and I definitely appreciate that. Texting you wee hours of the night, getting on your nerves. I apologize. Willa Allen says, howdy everybody. Hello to you as well. Phenomenal Creation says, hello, how are you? Maria Coleman says, hi even everyone, how are you? I'm great. I had a nap, so I'm doing good, and I had a brisket today too, so I know I'm doing good. Let's see, Tater Chip, I usually go back 13 stitches and restart. Yes, 13 is a pretty good number. I know on this embroidery machine, the multi-needle, there's a preset where you can go back 10 stitches, or you can go back, I think it's 50 stitches or 10 stitches, 100 stitches, or 500 stitches. So 10 is like the magic number, so to speak, and I usually go back 10 unless I see that that's not back far enough. Then I'll do 10 again and go back 20. Debbie D in the house. Hello, my love. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Pamela Hawkins says, good evening. I'm watching with my 2-year-old son, Jackson. He keeps waving at you and saying hi. Hi, Jackson. How are you this evening? Thank you for watching with your mom. Be sure you're behaving for your mom so that she can watch and pay attention to all the cool stuff we got to talk about tonight. So you be a good boy, and thank you for watching with her. I appreciate it. Give Jackson a big old hug from Eve and the Hoop Group. We love our babies around here. Tater Chip says, hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Teresa Jackson says, the top was good. The back just bunched bad. I changed the needle too. Yeah, a lot of times what's happening underneath usually correlates to a problem up top. And usually if there's a problem up top on the embroidery, it correlates from the bottom. That's not 100% of the time, but that's a good 75 to 80% of the time is the way it has worked out for me. So if I see a problem underneath, I'm definitely going to look up top and be like, oh my God, what's done happened up here, thread? Why are you not acting right? You know, and I'm going to check and make sure everything's good. But if it's bunching up under there, usually I trim all of that away so that it doesn't get caught again, and then back up and start back over it. Nellie Smith says, what name brand threads do you find tend not to shred as much if needle and threading are fine? I personally absolutely love my Madeira thread. That's my go-to. That's my favorite for many different reasons, but I have yet to really have any issues out of my Madeira thread. I mean, and that's being completely transparent. I've had issues out of some of my sulky thread, but it could be because it's older thread, because some of my thread I've had since I started, and I ordered it and then it was on clearance too, now that I think about it, because back then I was trying to get things at a really great deal, so I bought it on clearance. So there could have been some issues with that anyway. But Madeira has been tried and true, very few issues at all with my Madeira thread. And I also buy Madeira bobbins as well. If you get an account with Madeira, a business account with them, the thread is super inexpensive. I mean, it's very affordable. So definitely check them out. Sulky, the thread that I've been getting from Will, I haven't had any issues out of that as well. Will has a good deal on his Carolina Thread Place website for his thread. If you're in here, Will, you're more than welcome to go ahead and place that link for them. And he also offers a special price for the hoop group. So if you use the baby booty link, then you get extra off of your thread there as well. So and honestly, I haven't had any issues out of my thread from Amazon, which is all of that thread right here behind me. I haven't had any issues out of any of that thread. I really haven't. And that's with the large machine and my smaller machines. And that's that Embroidery, I think is the name of it on Amazon. So shredding, generally, I don't have very many problems with shredding, but if I do, I'm finding out it's that older thread that I've bought way back. So yeah. Jill E says, hi all. Hello Jill, how are you? Tater Chip says, inspect all parts suspect. All parts are suspect. Nobody, it's like, okay, everybody line up against the wall like my grandpa used to do. Line everybody up and we going down to see who is the one that's acting up. So that's pretty much how that has to work. Teresa Jackson says, you're good. I will keep an eye out. Love you, lady. Thanks for your precious time. You're good. So glad I found you. Yay for me. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Definitely trying to be a help out here and not a hindrance. Eric Boyle says, I'm from Kansas, smack dab in the middle. Well, Eric Boyle, you be careful out there in Kansas. And thank you for joining us for Way Out There. I have a son not too far from you in Nebraska. So one day I may come through that way. You never know. Barbara Nance says, Designs by Little B has a sale going on till the end of the month. Received an email earlier, also said to pass this information on. The code is oh no for 60% off any designs. Yeah, so the Designs by Little B sales are always phenomenal, always. And her code for oh no, she definitely pushed that. So if you have an opportunity to go out and find some of her really cute, very easy to do in the hoop designs, definitely snatch those up if you can. Debbie D says, happy that she's going to be there. Yeah, I'm super excited about having Miss Stephanie on the cruise with us. That's going to be fun. Let us see. Teresa Jackson says, which brother embroidery, I'm assuming machine is, oh wait a minute, nope, missed the question. Will there be Ronnie's Wraps? Will there be a takeaway project in the So What Pro class? There could be. I know with the So What Pro class, there's going to be a handout, a booklet type thing that you take with you with some shortcuts and stuff like that in it to refer back to whenever you're working with your designs in So What Pro. But we definitely need to see about doing a takeaway project. I think that would be fun because we are trying to be sure that we have embroidery machines so that people can stitch. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is the combo machines so that they'll also be able to be used in the quilting class. So we can have embroidery machines. We just couldn't have heat presses. So I was a little bummed about that, but I think we'll be okay. Maria says she usually backs up about 20 stitches. Yeah, it's pretty much the best way to go. Angelia says, when sewing leather, would you use flat thread or round thread? Angelia, I don't use flat thread in my embroidery machines. I don't. And the reason being is, especially if you don't have an attachment or some kind of way for that flat thread to feed into your embroidery machine straight, then what happens is it curls as it comes up off of the spool, and then it curls going into your machine and it'll break. So you don't want that flat thread to keep twisting up into your embroidery machine and causing you problems. So I avoid flat thread at all costs, unless I absolutely have to use it. Like for instance, I do have one thread back there that is a holographic thread. It is flat. It is gorgeous when you use it though. So I have to make sure that I'm holding the spool sideways so that it'll go through the machine flat. And the big machine doesn't like it at all. So I really have to be careful I actually don't use it at all on the big machine, only on my 4x4. But with leather, I've just used regular round thread. As a matter of fact, I did a project, can't remember, did I do it live or did I do it pre-recorded and then posted, where I did a notebook for a relative. I used regular embroidery thread. I didn't use anything special. And I used the 9014 needle with that. Teresa Jackson says, which Brother embroidery is the best? Now, Teresa, are you talking about Brother embroidery machine, or are you talking about Brother embroidery like thread? But if you're talking about machine, I don't necessarily have a best machine, okay? And the reason why is I've used just about all machines. Okay, I've used just about all of them, with the exception of me personally hands-on stitching out my own project, the 5x7. I haven't used that one yet, which is like the 770 or the new 800. But the multi-needle, the 10 needle, the 4x4s, they're all awesome machines. I have yet to have issues other than user error, not paying attention to what the heck I'm doing. My machines still run. They all run great. But when you're asking about one that's the best, there's a couple of factors that I like to suggest before anybody determines. Oh, thank you, So Crafty. I apologize. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I'm trying to keep up with the chat, but I talk too much, so I end up behind. But thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. But what I like to tell people is what matters to you the most. Okay, so if you're looking for high output, you have a budget of $10,000 to buy an embroidery machine, and you want to be able to crank out things without changing threads, well, then the multi-needle is going to be your best bet. That's the best machine for you. But if you only have a few projects that you're doing, most of them are pretty small. You can fit it like left chest logos maybe, or little small things. Then the 4x4 machine, one or two of those can help you crank out production, and that's the best. And your budget is low. Like, you may only have, you know, $200 right now, but you can earn enough to get another $200 to get another machine, and that's used, you know, prices off of Craigslist or whatever. So the 4x4 is going to be the best for you. But all around embroidery machine that's hands down like the friendliest to use, you can do a wide variety of projects and make decent money, and you can not break the bank, right? Would be, in my opinion, the 5x7 embroidery machine. All right, if you're looking strictly Brother, the 5x7 machine. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of your in the hoop projects are going to be about 5x7 or smaller. Very rarely are they larger than 5x7. Okay, so that's an excellent all-around machine. You can do some pretty decent projects with 5x7, putting names on blankets, or putting left chest logos, or even something larger on a shirt. The 5x7 is an excellent all-around machine to have. So I would say that one, especially if your budget is limited. All right. Each machine has their drawbacks. Okay, so like your single needle machines, flatbed machines, you can't really do hats easily. You can do hats, but there's not like a simple way to do them. You got to kind of like lay it flat. Durkee has a hat hoop where you can lay it flat and be able to embroider on it and that kind of stuff. So you can do them, but you can't do, well, you can do structure hats, because I've done them, but boy, you got to hold your mouth right for those. So there's some limitations, whereas the larger machines, a lot of times you're able to do much bigger designs, but those bigger designs are usually an hour in some, because there's so many stitches to those designs. The bigger design, the bigger the design, the more the stitches, and people tend to forget that part. So the machine is tied up for an hour stitching out something, whereas the smaller, easier projects are over and done with, and you move on to the next. So it depends on what you're looking for, and I apologize for going on and on and on. Angelia Baker says, what is the difference that it would make in which one you use? Okay, so I kind of covered that a little bit. Like for instance, the multi-needle machine, I do my large blankets with those. Baby blankets I can do on the smaller machine. Bulky items, I know one of the questions that I got a lot, especially with this last video I put on Instagram of me doing my grandson's book bag. They were like, well, can you do a book bag on a flat needle machine? Well, you can. I mean, a flatbed single needle. You can, but it's the top of the book bag, not the pocket. People want to do the pockets, all right, because that's clean open space and it looks good. Well, the multi-needle machine is what you would need for embroidery like that. On the shoes, you can do the tongue of a shoe on a single needle, but if you're wanting to do the side of the shoe, you'll need the multi-needle machine. So it's little things like that that you have to keep in mind as to which machine you would decide to use. You did it after it's mostly in 2 needles. Okay, so if you did it after, then I would definitely try to go back a step. They do have an 80-12 needle, so you can try the 80-12, see how that helps. But the ultimately the top stitch is what you want to look for. Top stitch comes in other sizes other than 90-14. 90-14 is just universal. It's a tough needle, not easy to break, little bitty like the 75-11. So that's why industrial users use the top stitch 90-14, because it's a good sturdy needle, and it's not too big like the 100 needle. So that's why I refer to the 90-14, because it is a tougher needle. But the top stitch part is what you definitely want to keep in mind, because that eye is a lot bigger for all of that continuous embroidery that you'll be doing. So just drop down in the top stitch size and see if that helps you out some. And definitely be sure that your needles are inserted all the way when you put them in. Terry Ponce, hello, how are you? Deborah Turner says, I finally got over my anxiety and embroidered my granddaughter's towels for her dorm room. They turned out awesome. Congratulations, ma'am. You don't have to have anxiety about this embroidery stuff. Unless it's just something. Now, if it was like Louis Vuitton towels, yeah, I'm going to sweat bullets the entire time. But if it's just some simple basic towels, that's one of my favorite projects to refer to beginner embroiderers, because I mean, even if you screw up, it doesn't matter. Just move to another part of the towel and try again. And you can always use a towel to clean with, even if it's a jacked up looking towel. Towels always come in handy. So I definitely refer towels to new people to embroider on and get your feet wet, because it's not, you don't have to worry about things like shirts where, oh my gosh, am I embroidering on the back, or where on the shirt does the embroidery need to be? You know, a towel, you just embroider anywhere and make it happen and see how it's going to turn out. So I am very proud of you for your awesome looking towels, and I'm sure she's going to love them as well, because nobody should be able to steal them, right? That's the whole point. Leela says, hi, even Hoop Group late, was catching up with my daughter who just got back from Nolans. Well, tell the daughter welcome back home, and it's okay, we are still here, even going on 9 o'clock. It's not as bad as I thought it was. Tanisha says, hey everybody, glad I made it in today. I'm glad you made it too. Welcome, thank you for joining us. Any other questions, please feel free to put them in the comments and we will get to them. Miss Eunice says, if I have some older thread, I put some Sewer's Aid oil on the thread and it seems to help. Sewer's Aid, I have been told you can use that with the embroidery thread. Some people says it works and some people says it doesn't, but I haven't had any issues out of Sewer's Aid. Sewer's Aid comes in a small bottle, kind of similar to, I was looking to see, I thought I had some at one point. But I don't see it, so I don't know what I've done with it, but it's a little bottle about yay big, clear, and it says Sewer's Aid on the front, and it kind of feels a little oily, and you can actually, you know, pour it directly, not pour it, it's kind of like an eye drops bottle. That's about what it looks like, and you can put oil down the thread and it will coat the thread and supposedly make it easier to glide through the embroidery or sewing machine. So some people can try that and it doesn't mess with the embroidery machine, because your embroidery machine technically should be oiled anyway, in most instances. So that I have heard has helped people. Maria says, this week I had a problem with my sulky thread shredding. I think it may have something to do with my upper tension. Well, we have the video on testing your tension. Definitely check that out and see if that helps you figure out what's going wrong with it. Eric Boyle says, can you embroider quilted fabric? Yes, you can. I have duck cloth. I want to quilt and embroider. Which to do first? That's a personal preference, Mr. Eric, because if it's easier for you to embroider on it first, then by all means do that part first, and then that way your stitching together is easy and you don't have to figure out how to keep the rest of the quilt out of the way while you're trying to embroider on something. But if you can't do the the embroidering first, then it doesn't hurt anything to do it after. It really doesn't. But it's good and clean, of course, if you can do it beforehand, because the back of the embroidery won't show, which is the way I like to do things, even though I don't quilt, but that's how I like to do my blankets. Let us see. Daryl Williams. Hello, Daryl. I am new to embroidery. I tried doing an in the hoop project, an ID holder with vinyl. What type of needle should I be using? The needle broke. Vinyl is not a difficult unless was the vinyl on the top or on the bottom when the needle broke. That's an important question, because if the vinyl was on the bottom, you may have to put like some tissue paper, not like toilet tissue, but gift wrapping tissue paper, or you could put tearaway stabilizer under there while that vinyl, because what can happen is that plastic vinyl can catch on the bottom of that machine as it's trying to stitch, and the extra tension on the surface of the bed of the embroidery machine can cause drag and break your needle. Because you can use any needle with vinyl, you shouldn't have any issues with that. But even if it's on the top, maybe try putting some tissue paper on top to see if that helps. Let me go down and see if you responded. Top and bottom. Okay, so put tissue paper. Try the bottom first. The bottom may be what the issue is when you're doing that on the bottom. But if you have issues after doing the bottom and you're still having some issues, then put it on both the top and the bottom. Tissue paper for vinyl for the win. But definitely on the bottom. Angelia says your grandmother used to use beeswax on her thread. I have heard of that. You're welcome, Daryl. And Lorna Putt says she uses Source 8 on all her thread. Not mad at that. Marge Campbell says she's here finally. Welcome. Shonda Coleman. Hello, everyone checking in from Arkansas. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Derek Parks says, when I'm doing a 3-color stitch, there is a little separation between the colors. Do you know what could be causing this? I don't see any separation in Sew Art or on the machine, but when it stitches, it isn't flushed together like the image. Now, Derek Parks, because you're saying Sew Art, I'm assuming you digitized it yourself. So you definitely want to make sure that when there's 2 colors, or 3 colors, however many extra side by side, you want them to overlap a little bit. All right, because what you have when you're stitching out your embroidery design is something called pull compensation that's automatically added in most digitizing software programs. All right, so pull compensation basically boils down to your fabric, and whenever you put a stitch in on the fabric, the thread has a certain tension coming through the embroidery machine. The top and the bottom has tension on that thread, so when it goes into the fabric, it kind of pulls at the fabric just ever so slightly. You may not notice it, but that's where puckers come from. A lot of instances it's because the pull compensation in a lot of instances is just a little high for some reason. It could be because of the density, which is the extra amount of stitches, or it just could be that the way that digitizer designed that program, the pull is higher. So in a lot of your high-end digitizing programs, you can adjust the pull compensation and make it less, and it's more relaxed so that it doesn't pull at the fabric as much. All right, so for that reason, because of the pull compensation, you want your stitch colors to slightly overlap. So definitely have just a little itty bitty bit of an overlap there. Stitch it again and see if that makes a difference. So whatever you've digitized, try and enlarge those sections just a little bit so that it causes an overlap for you. All right. Otherwise, oh, thank you, Miss Debbie Kidd. I appreciate that. I will definitely check that. Otherwise, what you want to do is check your fabric as well. Okay, so sometimes when you digitize and sew art, it can be pretty dense. Okay, so make sure that whatever fabric it is that you're using, you're stabilizing it really well, because the higher the density, the more those stitches, the higher the density and the pull compensation, the more it's going to pull against that fabric and cause those gaps. So definitely make sure there's an overlap there for you. You're welcome, Teresa Jackson. Miss Debbie Kidd says, did I miss anything good? I had a phone call. It's all right. We understand. It was just questions that I'm pretty sure you already knew the answer to. Shamina says, can you explain the need for a repositioning hoop? May sound crazy, but I've been getting all my supplies first before I purchase my machine. No, that's not crazy. The thing is, you get what the way I did similarly. I purchased things that I needed first that were more affordable before I went ahead and tackled the larger purchase. So I definitely understand that. Sometimes those are more readily accessible than the actual item itself. And then that also gives you time to make sure of your final purchase. But the repositional hoop, that comes in when you are looking to embroider bigger than what your machine can handle. Okay, so if you're getting a 4x4 machine, you have to make sure, and I got this question in the email just today, if I'm not mistaken, it was either today or yesterday, about someone wanting, no, it was an instant message. Someone wanted to know, could they purchase the repositional hoop, which was 5x12, for a 5x7 machine to use on their 4x4 machine. And I had to let them know that they couldn't do that. The reason being is because the 5x7 machine, the way you connect your hoop to the machine, those brackets are completely different than the ones on the 4x4 machine. So you can't mix up your hoops. So if you had a 4x4 machine and you decided to purchase a 5x7 machine, you can't interchange those hoops. It's not going to work. Even if you use 4x4 on that and 4x4 on that, you can't switch those hoops. And whomever, like Will, for instance, he has both size of machines. He knows that very well. You can see the difference on the brackets. All right. So you can't purchase a 5x12, which is the repositional size hoop that goes with the 5x7 machine. You can't purchase that to use on the 4x4. You have to use, I think it's like a 4x6.6 or something like that size embroidery hoop that goes with the 4x4 machine. The reason you would want to use a repositional hoop, again, is because of the design. Now, not all embroidery designs are repositional hoop friendly. Not all designs are. And there's a whole, how can I put it? There's a whole discussion, for lack of better words to describe it, that we would have to have in determining what is repositional hoop friendly. In the hoop designs, for the most part, are not repositional hoop friendly. For the most part, in the hoop designs, you're going to be basically going to have to just stick to 4x4. But embroidery designs, for instance, can be repositional hoop friendly. Matter of fact, I do have a couple of videos out there. Look for the repositional hoop video on the penguins. You'll see, like, type in the baby's booty repo hoop and look for the picture where it has the penguins on it. That's an excellent video to see how a much larger embroidery design can be divided up by colors to make it where you can use it in the repositional hoop. If I'm not mistaken, that's the right video. There's so many of them out there. Sometimes I forget what I even have out there. Lorna Putt says, hi from North Carolina. I got a new PE 800 to go with my PE 770. Well, ma'am, congratulations to you and your new PE 800. Congratulations. You got a brand new baby. That's a spanking new baby right there, girlfriend. You enjoy your 5x7 gloriousness, and you have 2 of them. So you can have both of them babies going at the same time, girl. Make your money. I am proud of you. Congratulations. Miss Bickham says, hey, beautiful, late but made it. Hello, Who Group. Hello, how are you, my dear? I am very happy to have you in here, and Justin as well. Welcome, Justin, the Vinyl King. We appreciate having you in here this evening. Let me see, whoop, I done skipped too far ahead. All right, so beeswax is for hand quilting, not to use on a machine. I haven't ever used it, but and then too, well, no, you said not to use on a machine at all. So she used hers on her sewing machine. She might have had one of those older machines, Miss Marge, where some of those machines could use anything. You could about kick them machines and they would still work and not have any issues. Maybe that would be the issue. Miss Bickham says she used a silicone thread spray. I have heard of that as well. And the Sewer's Aid is a type of silicone as well. It's not really an oil. It feels oily, so that's why I was saying that. But silicone, yes. Let me see here. You're welcome, Derek Parks, even though I think I told you that already. All right, cool beans. Marge Campbell says she gets her industrial thread spray from All Stitch. So if you're looking for embroidery or sewing aids, you can go to allstitch.com and find you some stuff. So let's get into, since it's going on 9 o'clock, to let you guys know about the Deco Summit. All right, so I've talked about the Deco Summit before. The Deco Summit is going to be held in Miami. All right, so in Miami, October the 11th and the 12th, that's a Friday and a Saturday. Ricoma, which is the embroidery machine company out of Miami, they do industrial multi-needle embroidery machines, big embroidery machines at that. They are hosting a Deco Summit. So they're going to have speakers come in from all across the U.S. And speak on doing garment decor. So they're going to have Reyes, the entertainer, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check and be sure, because I'm pretty sure I saw him on the list. They have quite a few people that are going to be at the Deco Summit, but I'm also mentioning it because they have put the tickets on sale. All right, so 2 days, almost 3 days are left until August the 28th. The tickets are on a deep discount, actually. So if you're at all interested in the price of the tickets, where your holdup, well, the tickets have dropped tremendously. All right. So we have, I don't know how many folks are familiar with Joyce Jagger, the embroidery coach. She is going to be there. Jennifer Moore from the Sewing Report, she is on YouTube. She will be there. The t-shirt help desk from Mr. Gary is going to be there. So he's going to talk about t-shirt business and running a productive and successful custom apparel business. Miss Laura with the Ricoma, she does the Ricoma videos, tutorials and whatnot on their YouTube channel. She is definitely going to be teaching there. Where is he? I'm trying to find, I don't see him. Hang on. Make sure I'm telling you about everybody. Oh, yeah, Reyes the entrepreneur. I say Reyes the entertainer, my bad. Reyes the entrepreneur. He is going to be there doing direct to garment information and showing how to do that. So excited to have him there. And also, I will be there teaching as well. I will be there discussing digitizing. So I will be there on the class roster as well. So you guys, if you want to be there, enjoy a class that I'm going to have, and the panel at the very end where you get to talk to all of the instructors and ask questions at the very end, or meet and greet after the class. And I think there's also even a special VIP meet and greet type thing going on. You're more than welcome to buy a ticket. And let me go ahead and pop that up so that you can see that as well. You go to decosummit.com, and right now until the 28th, the tickets are on sale. So if you ever want to see me, you can't go on the cruise, that's understandable, or you may not be able to make it to the retreat that's going to happen just before the cruise, that's understandable as well. But if you're not too far from the Miami area and don't mind traveling, here's your opportunity. I will be in Miami October the 11th and the 12th, and it will be my wedding anniversary, our 20th wedding anniversary. So I will be working on my anniversary, but it's all right. I'm not worried about it. I'm excited about this opportunity, and I am glad to be able to go. So if you want to join us, please, I am so excited about this, y'all. I may not be showing it right now, but very excited about going and teaching the digitizing class, which also translate into some fun that we're going to have on this channel with digitizing as well. So we're going to expand into some videos on digitizing. So if you've ever wanted to see digitizing, how it works, how to get into it, what are some of the steps, how do you digitize, well, we're going to be doing a lot of that on this channel coming up immediately after the summit. So I'm excited about all of this, and I hope to see some of you there. I did get a couple of emails already from folks that are going, and they mentioned that they're looking forward to meeting me, and I am in turn looking forward to meeting you if you are coming. So I wanted to announce that as well, because it has now become official that I will be there. So I'm excited. I am quite excited. So aside from that, I don't have much else going on around here, as far as some things coming up that I can think of, because I know for the next couple of months I will be preparing for that. So if we come in here, I know I need to, wait a minute, hold on. There's some, oh, the saddle blanket. I need to get that video done this week. I picked up a order for 800 bags. So I've been like not able to do a video trying to get these bags cranked out. But the saddle blanket needs to be done. I did order another leather journal so that we can do the leather journal on the 4x4 machine. So excited about that. And it was something else. I still haven't found any boxing gloves, y'all. This is crazy. How hard is it to find boxing gloves that are affordable? I'm trying to figure, why is it like $1 million for some boxing gloves? So as soon as that doesn't have a label on it, let me clarify actually first. Most of the lesser expensive ones have a big label in the way, and I don't want to take the label off. I want it to be where we find the gloves and they're just ready to go embroider on without having to do anything. Justin says he'll get me some. Okay, I hope you can find some, because I ain't been able to find any without that stupid label in the way. So Willa Allen says, what do you think is the best way to learn how to digitize? Hands-on for sure. If you are able to take the time to actually sit and practice while you see it being done, then that helps. All right, because there are so many different types of stitches that can be applied to a design, and so many angles that the stitches can be that would actually change a design or make a design reflect a different way. It's actually pretty cool. I love digitizing, and yet it can be challenging. It can be really challenging, especially when you're looking at digitizing very fine, detailed things. And I don't have that apron right here beside me, but like that one design that I did on an apron that was 89,000 stitches, that thing was dense, and it was an actual photograph that someone digitized for this customer and sent it to me to stitch it out. And I, at the time, did not feel like I was skilled enough to do a photograph, because most of these digitizing programs can auto digitize for you. I'm not a huge fan of that, because I'm learning that when you take the time to digitize yourself, you can make sure that the stitches are overlapped properly. There's not a lot of dense space behind some of the designs that you use. Like sometimes patches, people digitize a patch with a fill in the background and they fill the entire background and then stitch over the top of that. Well, if the design over the top of the fill, there's nothing if there's stitches up under that, you're not going to see it. So why are those stitches back there? They're not needed, especially if you're using stabilizer. So there's a lot of things. Good night, Miss Marge. There's a lot of things that go with digitizing that is really good to have some instruction prior to you actually doing it. And Jill E says touch on pricing a bit. You mean as far as pricing on the digitizing programs and how much they cost, or on how to charge for digitizing? Which one? I want to make sure that I answer that correctly. Teresa Jackson says, love this live chat. Good information given to us all. Give her a thumbs up, everyone. Eve is great. Good night until next time. Thank you, Eve. God bless. And if I missed you, Miss Teresa, I'm sorry. You have a good night as well. Marge Campbell says, Little Miss Boutique, if you haven't had an issue, just don't use it often. Some beeswax is like a solid brick. Some is softer. The softer should be okay. Just run unwaxed dental floss in the tensioner. So Little Miss Boutique says, oh man, I need to go because that's what I have. You have a Ricoma? Is that what you are saying? I did not know you had. Does anyone else have a Ricoma embroidery machine? I would like to know, because I don't think I've ever asked. Well, I've asked what type machines folks have, but I don't know how many people have a Ricoma. So if you're in here and you use one, let me know. I would love to know. A Garden for Mom. Hi, Eve. I want to purchase the PE 800. That would be an awesome time frame. You said around Christmas for the PE 800. It would be interesting to see if the price goes down around about that time, or definitely Black Friday coming up. Check and see if the price goes down then. You have the Ricoma EM 1010. They are going to have a I would think Black Friday. Check and see if the price has gone down Black Friday. They are going to have a technical class or something for the Ricoma especially. So let me look at the schedule. Pre-day. So on the 10th, technical certification class, yes, will be on that Thursday. So if you're wanting to get certified on your machine, then Thursday, October the 10th would be the day you would want to go. And that involves purchasing a VIP ticket. So I won't be at that class because I don't own a Ricoma. So I don't, it wouldn't be beneficial for me to learn the technical certification part of it. I'll probably be in Florida on that day, but not at that class. So, and that's an all-day class, actually, an all-day certification from 10 to 5:30. And from what I understand, they're providing lunch. So definitely check that out. I'm excited. How do we charge for embroidery? By the thread count or by the time? That's a debatable question. Carol Coleman had one about 2 years ago and sold her Ricoma. So right now, just Little Miss Boutique at the moment has the Ricoma. They have a pretty good deal on their machines and excellent financing options. Jill E, that is a subject for debate. If you ask the question in many different groups, you'll get a lot of different answers. However, a lot of the industry standard is to charge by the stitch count, meaning 1,000 stitches is $1 roughly. So some people charge $1 per 1,000. Some people charge $1.50 per 1,000. It just depends on you and how you want to do it. But you definitely want to have a minimum. All right. So for instance, and I'm going to grab that paperwork here in a moment and actually pull up another paper of a business that 3 different businesses and how much they charge for doing embroidery. All right. But if you charge by stitch count and do, like in my instance, I charge 1,000 $1 per 1,000 stitches. All right, so I'm not going to let someone come here and say, well, I have a monogram and it's only 600 stitches, and so I only get $1. That's not going to fly, because that's a waste of time. Because you have to hoop it, you have to get your stabilizer, you have to make sure it's lined up. I mean, there's some work involved. So being that it's such a simple design, and it shouldn't take me very long per se to do it, depending upon what I'm stitching on. So I could be monogramming a tennis shoe. I'm not going to do that for $1. So I would base it on my minimum first. All right. And my minimum, we'll just say, is $8, for instance. So I'm not going to turn on my machine. I'm not going to do anything for anything less than $8. So even if they come to my studio and they're like, okay, well, I need a monogram, it's only 600 stitches, and I'm saying, okay, it's $8. That's how much it'll be. But if they come with something that's like 20,000 stitches, okay, well, if I wanted to base it off stitch count, that's $20. So that's how some people do it. Not everyone does it that way. So let me look at what's on my, let me look at what's on my phone first. All right, so there is a company that I have started working with, not with embroidery, but with Bling, and I've actually made pretty good friends with the manager there, and it is Impressions with a Z, out of Gastonia, North Carolina, and they do embroidery, they do direct to garment. They have a direct to garment machine, and I'm actually supposed to go there one evening for our live and do the live from the store, so that you guys can see the direct to garment machine in action, what all that involves, as well as the, well, you've seen embroidery, but she uses the Melco embroidery machine, so see the Melco in action. They also do vinyl there. She has a silhouette there that she uses. So that's one of the things we were planning to do. But like the price guide at that store, all right, so pricing, they let you know, does not include the cost of the garment. So this is a storefront. So their digitizing fee is based from job to job. It's paid up front, non-refundable, 48-hour turnaround time. So up to 5,000 stitches is going to be $7 per piece. If it's one piece, up to 5 pieces. 5 pieces and up, they take $1 off. 12 pieces and up, they take another $1 off, so on and so forth. If it's 5,000 to 7,500, it's $8.50 per piece. If it's 7,500 to 10,000, it's $10 a piece. All right, so they have, you know, a range of stitch count for a certain price. Their ball caps, you add $2 because it's a hat. So say for instance it's up to 5,000 stitches, their minimum per hat, one hat, is going to be $7, but you got to add $2 because it's a hat, and that's not the cost of the hat. So it'll be $9 to embroider 5,000 stitches on a ball cap. Adding 3D lettering is an additional $4.50. So puff embroidery is an extra $4.50. So here's just one price guide. They also have a set price for their monograms. They have set monograms you can choose from, 3x3, 5x7, no matter, the monogram is $7 to put on something. So that's one location's price guide, and the way they do their stitches, hilarious. Justin, you a mess. Here's 2 other companies and their price guides. This particular company, which is not far from Charlotte, they're still in North Carolina. Their logos up to 7,000 stitches is $2.50. Up to 10,000 stitches is $3. Up to 15,000 stitches is $4.50, and 20,000 stitches is $6. All right. So their prices are lower considerably. So 7,000 stitches, mine would be $7 for 7,000 stitches, but theirs is $2.50. However, their minimum is $45. So even if you came with one thing that's 7,000 stitches, it's $2.50, but their minimum is $45. So you would have to add to your invoice or get something else embroidered, or whatever that one thing is going to be $45 for this particular company. And then this company is also not very far from Charlotte at all, actually. And these guys don't do digitizing, I guess, or either they will. Oh yeah, digitizing is $40 for this that company I was just talking about. So they tell you theirs is $40. Make sure I'm not overlooking. Embroidery personalization, they say is $375. I don't know what embroidery personalization would be. But those are additional services you can purchase. But this company, their digitizing is $89. One item. Okay, so their prices are based on 6,000 stitches. So one item at 6,000 stitches is $8. So there's a little more. That's more than $1 a stitch. 2 to 3 items, they drop the price to $6.50, and so on and so forth. If you bring your own items instead of stitching on something they have, because these guys have blanks, bring your own items. One item based on 6,000 stitches is $15. So again, your prices, I mean, folks' prices are all over the place. It's entirely up to you how you want to do your how you want to base your prices. But I'm telling you now, please listen to me on this. Don't undercut what someone else is doing to try and get your business up and going. And I hope I'm saying this correctly, because what I did when I first started and I saw the prices other people were charging, and I'm like, well, I mean, I'm just starting, so I can't charge that much. And that's true. But if you're embroidering and you see that it's turning out good, it's something you've done pretty regularly, like you're darn good at doing monograms on t-shirts, so you're gonna, not t-shirts, but polo shirts, like monogramming stuff, and you've been doing pretty good, you haven't had any issues, that doesn't mean you can charge $100 to do it, which you can. I mean, that's entirely up to you. But be competitive. Don't undercut. Just be competitive, and just try your best. Make sure that you're doing a good job, because if you undercut and you're not charging enough, I promise you, you will be miserable doing the work, because people are going to be like, ooh, she's cheap, so, or he's cheap, so I'm going to go with this person. And they swamp you with a ton of work, and it's just not fulfilling. So imagine if you're doing, your minimum is $5, because I had that happen. At one point my minimum was $5 an item, and they would bring tons of stuff, and I'm sitting here looking at this pile of work, and I'm like, this is only $5 for me to do this, and it's a lot of stitches. Because it wasn't based on the stitch count. I just told them $5 flat rate, no matter what you bring to me. That was a huge mistake. Oh my God, that was the worst decision I ever made in my career. And it almost made me despise doing embroidery. It really did. I was like miserable doing the work, because that particular agreement that I made with those particular folks was just like tragic, and they always wanted the most difficult stuff, and it's like, dude, I mean, and always wanted stuff turned around like in 3 days or something crazy like that. So I eventually had to be like, look, dude, number one, we're going up. It's not going to be $5 anymore, and number two, we're not going to be doing this last minute unless you want to pay $100 rush fee. End of discussion. Have I stuck to the rush fee? No, but I have managed to get the situation where it's not as tragic as it was, and my price did go up. So I feel a lot better about what I was charging. And Debbie says it's very hard to go up in your prices, and your customers will get mad. And trust and believe, the main person was very frustrated that I was, because he was like, so we just gonna go up on prices? Yeah. I mean, it's either take it or leave. At that point, I was at that point, take it or leave it. I'm sorry, I cannot, I'm not operating at a profit. I was operating at a loss. I actually was. It was pretty bad. So he took it. and that's they pay my higher price now. They don't pay the dumb rush fee, unfortunately, and they push that all the time. But I at least was able to get a more productive price out of that particular arrangement, so I feel a lot better. You'll get me later. Okay, I didn't get to see what that message was, but we'll check it. Alrighty, so if there are any other questions, please. Miss Ethel Smith, hello, welcome. She says good evening to everyone. So whom in here has actually taken the time to review their prices? When is the last time you reviewed your pricing structure and decided whether or not it's still competitive or not? Because if you haven't adjusted your prices in 10 years, you may want to take a look at what's going on around you and see if that's still lucrative for you. Not saying that your prices aren't good, but when is the last time you actually sat down, calculated your pricing to be sure that you're staying competitive or at least profitable? That's the most important thing. Because one of the things I have done, which is another reason why it's been like busy, super busy around here, is because I've been doing many things, and hiring a business manager was one of them. And so my business manager has sat down with me and she's like, okay, I need you to look at this. This price isn't going to work. That price isn't going to work. Why are you doing this service that way? That's not lucrative, so I have a business manager now that has been helping me with that, and it's been a blessing. Y'all just don't understand. It's been a wonderful thing to have her by my side. So she's allowed me to see where I've been making mistakes and where I need to improve financially and business wise. Miss Debbie says, I also have a set rate that I want to make an hour for very high stitch count items. Then I charge by the hour. Oh, now that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Because like for instance, the apron that I did do, it was 2.5 hours. I did not charge by the hour, but because that customer realized how stitch intensive it was, she tipped well enough to where I was more than enough compensated for doing that particular project. So that was a good thing. But it was someone I was pretty close to, and the way that project was laid out, I didn't mind doing the project for her at a normal price without charging extra. So I didn't say normal. I didn't mean to say normal. I meant to say for a specific price. Alrighty, you guys. So if you don't have any other questions, before signing off, just wanted to say how much I love your hair. Thank you. I know sometimes y'all come on and be like, oh my God, what's her hair gonna look like? But I'm and this is going personal. So if you tired of hearing me talk, I ain't gonna mind. I'll talk to y'all later. But I am at a transitional point in my life where I'm trying to decide what the heck I'm gonna do that's less stress and aggravation. And I wanted to cut my hair all the way off because it's been super short before. I actually had my hair very, very, very short at one point in time in my life, and I was thinking about going back to that. And unfortunately, I have a husband that loves hair, so I let it grow, and I was at that point of getting it cut again a couple of weeks ago, and then I was like, you know what, it's a little thing, so, but I don't want to continue getting the relaxers, so I'm just been doing this myself. It's yeah, it's a process. It's a process, so who knows, y'all might come in and it'll be back straight again. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm just trying to, every so often a woman gets to a place where she's like, okay, something has to change, and so I've been trying to figure out what change that's going to be. But I'm pretty much tired of having to go to the salon every other week and spending that ton of money because it was a lot of money. So I've just decided to kind of like do it myself somewhat and do the natural thing all over again. It's like, oh my God, why Father? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I want to definitely thank Miss Debbie Kidd. The upkeep on short hair is a bit much. Miss Kim, well, I'll put it this way. The stylist that I had when my hair was short, I didn't have to worry about it. Girl, she kept a heifer hooked all the way up. I mean, my hair was always flawless when it was short. I mean, I would go. This particular stylist, the angels kissed her scissors. That's how good she was. And no matter where I went, they were like, oh, they'd be like, girl, I love your hair. Oh, I love it. It was a lot of women that would come to me. And I'm like, here's my stylist, girl. And I boosted up her business a whole heck of a lot because she was just that good. So the short hair was like, wow, I loved it short. But it was a lot of upkeep, but she kept it up for me. And she was a really good friend. Still is. She's a good friend. And, but I don't know. He like hair, so we gonna stick with hair. That's where he loves hair, so we're gonna stick with hair, child. We're gonna stick with her. But I want to thank Debbie Kidd for sure. Definitely want to thank you, ma'am. And I also want to thank Miss Carol Coleman, Miss So Crafty, Eric Boyle, and Miss Stephanie of Clever Dog Designs for the generous donations to our channel. We always appreciate the support. Miss Barbara Nance always supports. Miss Janet McKinney always supports our channel. And we definitely want to thank each and every one of you guys because a lot does go into the channel, but without you all, this channel wouldn't exist. So we're over 16,000. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I was like, oh my God, 16,000 subscribers. So I was going to do a giveaway at 15, but I have a huge giveaway in mind for 20,000. I have a huge, colossal. I'm more than excited about this specific giveaway because it will be just unmatched that you've ever seen anywhere for the 20K subscriber count. So that's what I'm shooting for. Instead of doing 15, we'll see how soon we get to 20 and give away the giveaway of a lifetime. So I'm excited about that. So thank you all. I definitely appreciate how you guys have supported the channel. Thank you, Miss Maria. That's a area where a lot of people have difficulty, so don't feel bad about that. And Miss Nellie Smith, please definitely check us when you return and keep us updated on your awesome trip. And I hope to see some of you at the Deco Summit in October. If you can at all make it, I would love to see you. So please let me know. Shoot me an email if you're going to go. Like I said, right now is when you want to buy those tickets because the tickets are at a price. And I was like, wow, they really discounted those prices. So if you haven't bought a ticket, now is definitely the time to buy one. So thank you for joining us this evening. I enjoyed every last one of you. I hope you all have a safe rest to your week. And until the next time I see you all, I hope you have happy embroidering. We'll talk at you later. And don't know what else to say other than bye. I'm going to bed. You guys have a good night. Bye.